Let's look at the steps to success in Chapter 5, Level 1, which begins on page 298. We start with a workbook called Golf and rename it Golf Orders 1. I stuck my last name in front of it. Let's look at the description on page 298. It says, in addition to creating an order form for tennis balls, VJ also needs to create an order form for golf balls. The zone sells golf balls in unit packages of a dozen balls, and the dollar value each represents the price per package. The shipping charges are slightly different. It says VJ has already created a golf workbook containing lookup tables and an order form in a worksheet named Golf Balls. In these steps, your task is to complete the order form using the appropriate lookup functions to calculate the total prices, total shipping charges, and grand totals. Page 299. Number 2 says, in the Golf Balls worksheet, complete the unit pricing lookup table to include the units and the corresponding prices. We are basically setting up a lookup table here, but notice on page 298 it says under 50. Basically, we would want to start with 0, and then our next level would be 50. So if it's more than 0 but less than 50, we're charging how much? $5.85 for a dozen. If it's at least 50, we charge $5.73. But then if it hits 100, we charge $5.60 per dozen. And if it hits 190, we charge $5.40 a dozen. Now the shipping costs, rail is how much? 22 cents. So complete these numbers. All right, we've got our two tables. Number 4 says, in cell E14 would be the unit price for our first order, number 101. It says, use the appropriate lookup function to calculate the unit price for this order based on the quantity ordered. Here's the quantity that we ordered. What would we charge them for each dozen if you were just doing this by hand? We'd charge them $5.40, right? Because they ordered at least 190. But we can do this automatically with our lookup function. Are we going to be using a vertical lookup function or a horizontal? This is vertical, isn't it? So we can use our VLOOKUP and walk through it like this. Later we'll do it just typing it in. First thing is the lookup value. What do we want to look up? We want to look up this number right here, don't we? The quantity. And we want that to move down as we copy the formula down. But we do want it to stay in column D, so I'm going to make that absolute column and relative row. You wouldn't have to do that, but that way if you want to copy it to the right, it'll still go back to column D and give you the, you could leave it just relative, but I'm going to do that. Table array. What's the table array we want to look it up in? It's up here, isn't it? We definitely don't want to include that because that's a merged cell. And the book says not to include these titles here. It won't hurt you to include them, but it's better practice not to. So there's our lookup table, A7 to B10, and what do we need to do to that? Yeah, we need to make that an absolute reference, don't we? So that when we copy this formula down, it'll still go back to those 8 cells. What column number do we want to be returned? Column 2, that's right. And do we want this to be an exact match or a closest match? We want this to be the closest match, don't we? If we said exact match, it would only return something if we ordered exactly 0 or exactly 50 or exactly 100. So we leave it blank or we put the word true in it, but we can just leave it blank. It says we're going to charge you $5.40. Now if we copy that formula down, here's somebody in our lowest range and they're being charged the highest price. Anybody with 190 or over gets charged $5.40 and it looks like we have every range in there except there's nobody between 50 and 99, so we don't see a 573 anywhere. And that's okay. I'm going to change this 47 to 97, and that should change it to 573, shouldn't it? And it does. I'll leave it the way it was so that our answers will all be the same. Number 5, it says in cell F14, calculate the total price excluding shipping. Write the formula so that it can be copied down. How would we figure the total price before shipping if we're ordering this many and they cost this much each? We'd just multiply, that's right. So it's a very simple calculation. It's the quantity times the unit price. And then if we copy that formula down, it should give us quantity times unit price in every column. Number 6 says, in cell G14, calculate the unit shipping charge for the order based on the shipping method. Write the formula so it can be copied down. Correct data entry errors as necessary. The unit shipping, that's under our shipping costs, isn't it? We're going to look up the price of shipping, and how can we tell what the price is going to be? We'd look up the shipping method that's being used for that order, and we'd say how much does it cost for each unit based on that method of shipping. What kind of function do we want to use? This is a VLOOKUP, isn't it? I'm going to just type it this time in G14 equals VLOOKUP, and now we can follow what's going on by looking at what it wants next before each comma. First thing it wants, lookup value. What do we want to look up for the shipping? We want to look up that thing, don't we? Comma. What's the next thing it wants? Yeah, it says, where's this table you want me to look this stuff up in? It's right here, isn't it? And I want that to be an absolute reference. So that's the table we're looking in. Comma. Column index number. What column do you want me to give back to you if I find this? We want column 2, don't we? Do we want this to be the closest thing alphabetically, or do we want this to be an exact match? We want it to be exact, don't we? So we need the word false in there. And now, trucking should be 28 cents, and it is. If we copy that formula down, it says customer is 0, because they're arranging the shipping. It doesn't say boat anywhere. What do you think they meant here? They probably meant by ship, but somebody typed boat instead of ship. Now this is a confusing thing. I think boat would have been clearer because we're talking about shipping things. So I think I would change ship to boat up here rather than the other way around. Now again, this points out you don't want to let people type stuff in here if you can predict what they should type. We'd want a drop-down list where they pick boat or truck, but not where they can just type in anything they want. Looks like everything works. The customer is taking care of these, so we're not going to charge them anything. Number 7 says we want to calculate the total shipping cost, and this is the shipping per unit, right? Shipping per dozen golf balls. How would we find the total shipping? Yeah, we'd multiply this unit shipping price times the quantity. How many units did they order? This is just like our total price before, except this is total shipping. So it's the unit shipping times the quantity. That is our total shipping price. Now it looks like some people get a discount. If we were going to do grand total without discounts, what would it be? It would be this total price plus this total shipping, wouldn't it? But apparently we're going to figure a discount that we're either going to add a negative number or we're going to subtract a positive number. Let's see what they say. Number 8 says, in cell I14, which is our shipping discount, calculate the shipping discount for the order using shipping discount B which is right here, based on the total price, column F. The discounted value will be the corresponding percentage times the total shipping. Write the formula so that it can be copied down the column and then copy the formula. What do we want to look up? We want an H lookup, don't we? We want to look up their total price, which would be this. We'd want to look it up in the top row. So if they have anything from 0 to $4.99, they get no discount. But if they have $500 to $9.99, they get a 10% discount. If they order over $1,000, they get a 15% discount. So this is going to be an H lookup, isn't it? And they told us they wanted shipping discount B. So what row would we want returned? It'd be row 3, wouldn't it? So we're going to do an H lookup for our shipping discount equals H lookup. What lookup value do we want to look up? It would be total price, comma. And where's our table array? It is right here, isn't it? We're going to look it up in the top row, and we're going to ask for row 3 back. So we're going to look up the total price in the top row, comma, and the row index number we want back is shipping discount B, so we want row 3. And do we want this to be an exact match or a closest match? This is closest, isn't it? So we can just leave this range lookup blank. We could put the word true there if we wanted to. It's going to give us the same thing. Either leave it blank or put the word true there. So this says you get a 15% discount. But notice all we did was look up the discount. I think they should save more than 15 cents, shouldn't they? What do we want to do with this 15%? Yes, we want to multiply it by the total shipping cost right there. That looks better, doesn't it? Their shipping would have cost about $100. A 15% discount should be almost $15 knocked off it. So if we double click this, drag it down, this was below 500, so they didn't get a shipping discount. This was well over 1,000. Why didn't they get a shipping discount? Because they are a customer taking care of it themselves. So when we multiplied that 15% times 0, we got 0 discount. If we want the grand total, we should do this total price plus the total shipping minus the discount, right? Now, somebody doing it as a bookkeeper or an accountant would probably make this a negative number. They might or they might not. In other words, we could just add total price plus shipping plus discount as long as the discount was negative. We could just add them all together. So either way, let's do it where we subtract it. This is a simple calculation, equals my total price plus my total shipping minus my discount. But again, it might be better practice to make that discount negative so that it shows that it's not like these positive things. But this will give us the correct answer. Let's just leave these answers here. I'll copy these answers and paste them over here as values. So here's the values. Let's make them look like currency. So here's the values that we got when we did it this way with a positive. Now, on this formula, let's put a minus sign in front of it so it makes it negative. Copy it down. And then on this formula, we will add that negative instead of subtracting the positive. And we should get the exact same answers.